let's see, will this one do it then? I'll probably not go to this one. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, we're live here. Let's move that one then. This is so weird. Okay, so hey Ali, I'm gonna explain everything. I'm just going to see if we can get the viewers from the other stream. Let's go back. Welcome, welcome. Let's see if we can. Hey everyone. Let's see. Does everyone get notification anyway? I couldn't actually stream from. Let's see if we can close this. So this. Let's see if I can move over to the other video really fast and just make a link. Okay, so I'll just do like this. So there was some really weird issue with the YouTube control panel for the live stream. So they give me that key to live stream to, and when I started the live stream, it didn't actually get through. So it just got an error saying like, oh, okay, the live stream is not successful. So I just tried it over and over again, but it seems like I can start a new live stream, but just not on that video. So sorry if there was any like, oh yeah, sorry for the 10-minute delay there, but I think I got everything working. It seems like I'm not. Let's see, properties. And maybe we can get some better sound also. Is this better? Okay, this is on the left side. Oh my gosh, so many. Advanced audio. Down mix to maybe like this. Sorry if I can't answer right now. I'm just gonna fix this really fast. I will answer all the questions, so you can just put everything there. Is it better now? Can you everyone hear me? Yeah, now we seem to have everything working good now. I'm just going to go here, and I'm also going to just open all of the code really fast. I like had everything prepared, so the links and everything, but now I'm streaming to another video, so the links are not correct anymore. I think I had Twitter also here somewhere. There's Twitter. So I'm just gonna change the links. Tweet. This one will also change. And then, yeah, that should be working. I'm just gonna see if that works. Yeah. Okay, now we got everything up and ready. I'm just going to check the comments really fast. Hi everyone, by the way. My mail address, you can find it in the About section on my YouTube channel. You should see a button to see my work mail. How to connect to SQL server in Flutter. I haven't actually touched on that and looked into that anything myself, so probably someone else have a better answer than me. Let's see. Hey Mehmet, I don't know if I can pronounce that right. Can make a tutorial on fetching data from server and this on app. Yeah, I will make tutorials more on fetching data from servers also. I'll get better audio. Nice. I want to have Google Maps on my app in Flutter. Yeah, that's something I also want to do sometime in the future. I haven't really tried out it. I never heard of MobX. I've saw it before when I worked on a project at my work, and I wanted to have a state management, but they used pretty much forced us to use Redux at that point, so I couldn't really try it out there either. What's the best database for Flutter? Whatever works for you, your use case. We'd love to see you explain and talk about running Flutter in the background. Yeah, I really want to, it's really hard to cover that topic right now. It's not a lot of like source on it or code on it. So I haven't really used it or got into it myself. So this will probably be something more in the future. Okay, but let's see. So I have pretty much just started a setup here. So the code you can find, so like, let's move this. And we can see if I can change over to the browser. That's the wrong browser. Okay. So everything is not working now. So I will just move this here so you can see it here. And I'm just going to hide the bookmarks. There we go. So here is the Flutter repo, or not the Flutter repo, the repo that I will be adding all of the state management repositories. And you can see here that I have used a simple README for it. And the project I will be working on will be residing here in the MobX learning. So all of the code will be updated here, and I will also, I think that's also down in the description if you want to find all the source code. And also I will be following this MobX getting started. And this is just to begin with the counters I can get a basic understanding of it. And maybe we can see if we can do something more advanced. That depends. I thought provider is good alternative for state management instead of block. Yeah, I really like provider a lot. I'm currently on my project, I'm using normal block and provider. But I'm going to test right now with MobX and provider. I just want to see and test all of the state management, because a lot of the questions I get on the channel, a lot of questions you guys give me is like what state management to use, what I prefer, what I recommend. So I can't really recommend anything until I actually tested all of them. So that's why I want to try that out. So let's see. So I have this normal project right here. So I'll just remove the comment so we can get started. And we will begin just see if we can get the counter app working. And hopefully it makes some sense to you guys. And also myself, I have never used MobX ever before. So let's see if that works. So actually what I'm going to do first is just create a new branch. Let's see if I can get the comments up also. There we go. So let's make a new branch and let's call it count or feature MobX counter. And there we go. So now we have the counter branch. Hey Samed, how are you doing? Okay, so I will just switch some of this out so we can get some more. And let's also remove the debug banner. That's used to remove the banner up at the top. So, hey Samir, let's see. So first off, we will actually just add all of the dependency, because I saw on the get started that there was quite a bit of different dependencies that we would need. So let's check that out. So I will see if I can make this smaller so you guys can see it as well. Most of the time I use Redux or provider. I'm interested to know how Redux MobX works. Yeah, I'm really interested to see and test all of the different state management. If you have any state management you want me to cover, just let me know in the comments or in the stream chat. I'm really not used to streaming, so let's see how this goes. So we need two dependencies in the dependencies, which is MobX and also Flutter MobX. So let's just add those two. And we need the build runner and the MobX code gen. So let's take that also, and they will be in the dev dependency. Like that. Let's just see. Do I actually need to specify the version number? Hey Dream, how are you doing? Oh, awesome. Glad you found the stream. Hey Robert Fiber is not working properly. It's really hard for me to debug it. I have a Discord channel. If you see, of course I want to. I'm just gonna fix one thing also. I want to just take this. Send now. So I have a Discord channel. I will create. I think there is an invite down in the description. I will just create an invite anyway. Let's never expire. No limit. And you can join that if you want to. I missed 11 minutes. Those 11 minutes was me fixing up the live stream actually, because I didn't get it to work. What is MobX? MobX is a state management solution. I think it was developed for the web before, for React, I believe. I haven't really looked into it that much. I just found it when I created a project for my last company in React, but I had to go with Redux, so I couldn't go with it. So let's just try it now. So I don't know, do any of you guys know if I really need to specify a version? Doesn't really matter, we can actually go and get the versions also. Not that one. Do you build iOS style apps in Flutter as opposed to material apps? I have just like played around with the iOS style widgets. I haven't really built a app that's specifically going to look iOS styled on iOS, if that's the question you mean. Why not use block? Like, you can use whatever you want. I just want to learn the new ones also, or the other solutions, and then make my mind afterwards to see what I prefer in the different projects that I'm going to create. So first I'm just going to search on MobX, see what the version is. We get the version there. And Flutter MobX, there's the version there. Okay, we have also the MobX code gen. We have version here. And I'm just going to check if we are getting everything working. I think I will also add provider, just so we can test that out later. I will just add it right away instead, so we don't have to add it afterwards. What is MobX? MobX is pretty much just another state management solution. What is state and state management? Just an overview. So pretty much when you make a change in the app, let's say a value, let's say you have a user in the app when they sign in, let's say they have a name and you want that name to be displayed in multiple places in your app. So a good way with state management is that you have like a combined store, let's say. And when you change that value, you can have that store value displayed in multiple places. Like that's like a oversimplified way of looking at it. It's not completely similar to Redux, I can't say that, but it's another solution. There's a nice exchange for VS PubSpec assist. Oh yeah, I haven't really had time to test that out. I will actually add it after the stream, and maybe we can test that out after the next stream also. Okay, so we got the packages down. Let's see. We can close. Oh no, let's not close that. Okay, so we got that right. Are you going to use a REST API? Maybe we can try something like getting images from a dog API. I think I know a open one that we can test with and see if we can cook something up. Okay, so we're going to first create a counter class, it seems. Let's create a MobX store or a store. Okay. A store in MobX is a way of collecting the related observable state under one class. The stores allows us to use annotation and keeps the code simple. Okay, so we're going to create a new class. So let's first just create some folders. I'm going to create a source folder, and inside this folder I'm going to create a models folder. And I haven't really used like the generations for when you generate a class from a class or generate the code. I believe it creates two classes. So I'm just going to, just in case, create another folder in the models, which is just going to be called the counter. So inside this, we're going to create a counter class. So counter.dart. Okay, so let's see how he creates one. Let's push this here and let's see if we can do this. Okay, so we have okay, so we are going to one sec. Alltså jag streamar nu så jag kan inte. Okay, so first we're going to import the MobX. Let's see if we can get this right. So I will actually just see if we can create the class itself first, so it makes a bit more sense. So it seems that we're going to use a abstract class and make the class private, and then we're just going to have the store with it. So let's do that. We're going to create a abstract class called counter, and underscore just makes it private. And I guess that's part of the code generation. Hey Lucas, how are you doing? Let's see. I didn't expect so many to be here actually. Hi everyone, even if you're a lurker. So okay, so we're going to have a observable. So I guess we have these annotations, so we can just remove a lot of boilerplate, which seems to be pretty nice. Observable. Okay, so below the observable, we're going to use to create a variable, and this will be the value of the counter. So it can be value. I'm just going to call it count. I'm going to set it to 1 right away actually. Okay, so then we have actions. Okay, so the explanation comes afterwards. I'm just going to like guess what this makes or this mean, and then we'll just see if I'm right or not. So we have the observable, which we can listen to from the UI, I guess. Then we have a action. These are just the callable actions, which would, I guess, fire off a change for the observable. So we're going to have a increment, and this will just increase the count. Okay, so we don't have to do anything else. Okay, sweet. Hey Jay, how are you doing? So let's see. So okay, now we have this. We are not going to forget the. Okay, so we have to make a class which we can call, because this is a private class, I guess. So I'm just going to copy this. That seems a bit hard. So we have class counter with counter. Let's open the terminal. And we are going to include the generated file. Let's do that also, which I guess will be for the code generation. And we're getting a red errors. Let's see if we can just. Which is the best way to, or the best resource to learn Flutter online for free? I guess YouTube videos, blogs. I don't have anything specific. I try to make everything I have free, if that helps. There's also a lot of communities that you can join and learn. Okay, so the abstract store class includes the store mixin. All of your store related code should be placed inside this abstract class. We create a counter class to blend in the code from the build runner. Okay. So we pretty much have a abstract class which then will be blended with the counter class with build runner then. Yeah, the official documentations is great also. The generated code will be inside this part. Okay, yes. Let's just go see what happens. So this, I guess, will generate our file. If it does anything. Did it run? Run build runner build. Guess it's just loading. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's see. So this should generate all of the boilerplate code that we don't have to actually do anything for this counter class. And I'm guessing this will be placed in a counter folder. Let's hope so, at least. Okay, so it didn't seem to do anything. So it succeeded, but counter.dart is the same name, right? Okay, there we go. Now we got the generated file. I don't know why it wasn't working to begin with, but we seem to have a counter generated file, and this just has all of the boilerplate for that counter widget or class. Good enough. Let's continue. If you're making changes to the store and want to generate a file automatically, you can use the for. Okay, I want that because I'm probably going to make a lot of changes. So what this will do is pretty much just watch this file. So when I make changes, that will overwrite the file in the the code in the generated file. You may have an error run this command due to existing file, possibly for an earlier version of. Okay, that doesn't affect us. Connect the store and add observer to your widgets. Okay, now comes the UI code then. So I'm just going to minimize that. And we're going to just move this class so we can get a bit of separation, I guess. Source, new folder, pages. Okay, let's create a counter page. And that will pretty much be this one. We're just going to rename it to counter page. Then of course we're going to import the material design. Didn't I rename it? Counter page. Rename failed. Okay, there we go. So now we have the counter page. Now we can go here again and go type in counter page. Let's just see in the emulator if we have everything working. We can close that down. There we go. Okay, so we have the normal counter. So now let's implement our own counter. So if we follow this again, we can see that we're going to connect our... We're going to first instantiate our counter. Okay, so they seem to instantiate it globally. We can just instantiate it actually in the counter page. We don't care about the specific state management for the multiple pages right now. So let's just create a new counter class. Final counter is equal counter. And let's import that. We can remove all of the specific code for that local counter. And this one can be empty. Okay, we're going to have the identifier. Let's just make this private. And we are going to... Okay, so we can get access to then the count from the class. We're probably just going to save this and see if we can get the 0 count from this first. Okay, there we go. Now from the increment, we can call our counter again. And then call the increment method. And I guess that's it. Let's see. Oh, we probably need some kind of way of notifying that the widget is changing. So let's see how they are doing that. There seems to be an observer here. Could you make a video about the profile page that retrieve data from Firebase, contain profile avatar, full name, email, username, phone number, change password from the app in Flutter? Yeah, I guess I can make a video from that. That should be no problem. So here we can see that they are actually wrapping the text widget in a observer. I'm just going to see if I can create an observer here. So we have the observer, and this observer is taking a builder with the build context. We really don't need a context. I know you can do the arrow function. I just don't like to use the arrow function sometimes. I feel that this is a bit cleaner. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Because when you use a arrow function, let's see if I can show this. I just don't like this kind of indentation. I don't feel like that's that nice to look at. Maybe that's just me. So I just prefer, instead of using that arrow, to just return the widget. And then I keep getting that consistent view with all of the other widgets. So now if we go here, Okay, so now we got the state updating in the app with our counter. I think the MobX approach is very straightforward. Yeah, so far it seems very, very simple actually. Haven't got stuck on anything, and I believe. Okay, so that is the getting started, so we can actually probably close that. Okay, so what do we want to make now? So now we have this counter class, so how can we make this more interesting? Should we make some kind of, like when you push the button you get the image of a dog or something? Something similar, or something like a to-do app. Yeah, maybe we can make a to-do app. I believe, don't they have a example of making a to-do app? I don't want to make like something they already have an example of. I just want to make like anything so we can just like play around and see if we can learn something new. What extension are you using to outline the Flutter code? Looks very useful. Do you mean these lines right here? These white lines here? If that's the case, I always forget the name. I think it's like dart.preview. Yeah, it's if you go to settings, you can get the dart.preview and just enable this one. You should get those outlines. Don't really know what we should make. I really want to like try. Could you make an app with complex UI like some of the dribble designs, such as a music player? Yeah, maybe. The one thing that I'm lacking on the most in Flutter is actually getting good at designing things. I'm trying to get better at animations also. So let's see. What are we going to make? Maybe we can remove the app bar, so we can get this bit cleaner view. And if we push the button, should we get a image? It's really hard to get a good working. I want to have some kind of API, so maybe that's good. We can have, maybe we can have multiple things. So we can have one button for incremented a value. We can have one button for just fetching a image and displaying that image on the app. And maybe we can implement something more afterwards. Let's go with that. I think GitHub or search for open APIs. Yeah, this one. See if we can get that loading. This is a very handy repository if you want to like learn more on APIs. It has a lot of like open APIs and you can just get them without. Some of them requires you authentication, but something like, for example, this cat facts seems like it doesn't need any authentication. Is it easy to set up though? Docs homepage. Oh. Okay, base URL for the endpoint. Cat facts response time will likely be a few seconds long on the first request. Blah blah blah. Endpoint facts. Okay, should we get the image or should we get cat facts? I feel like cat facts is more fun. Let's try this cat facts API. And let's start with the MobX counter, or not the counter, a new model. So I guess what I need to make sense of is how we are going to structure the model. So are we going to have like a a file which is the complete store? Or are we going to have a file specifically for the cat facts and then one file specifically for the counter? Yeah, let's go with that. So please louder. Let's see. I don't know if I can hide the volume. Maybe I can boost it up a bit. Let's see. Filters. Gain. Is this better? And then we can also add a filter as a compressor. Is this any better? Just let me know. Okay, good. Okay, so we have a folder or file for the counter. So let's make one for the cat facts. And we will actually start with a folder again. So cat facts, cat fact. So I guess, so what I always want to do is when I make models, I want them to be like, I don't know the English word for it. So a single model and or a single object and not multiple objects. So for example, if I make a model called cat fact, that would be okay, but I wouldn't make a model called cat facts. So how would the MobX look like that? Would I just create a model? Which is not, yeah, I would. Okay, so okay, let's just try it out and we can see. So this we're going to rename to cat facts. Cat facts. Let's just go with cat fact. And we're going to create a new file, and this file will just be, this will just be a like normal normal object, not anything relating to MobX. Class cat fact. And if we check the API really fast, we can see that we have this endpoint, and we can do /facts. Holy hell. Can we limit this to like 1 or something? Okay, so we're getting multiple ones. That should be fine anyway. So we're getting multiple ones. They contain a ID, a text, so let's do like this. So we're going to copy this one right here all the way until we get to, let's see, I'm just going to move that here so I can see if you write something. Cat facts dot fetch them. Yeah, that's true. So the object is from, okay, so we get an object with the ID of this. The text will be here. We're getting a type, which is cat, and we're getting user with an ID, name, first name, last name, upvotes, and user votes. Okay, we're getting tons of information here. Okay, let's just do like Dart to JSON. Or JSON to Dart, I mean, so we can generate the class. We're just going to replace everything. And what are we getting? We're getting the ID. Let's close this one. So this one will pretty much just be responsible for being just that specific object. And I'm just going to like this maybe is a bit unnecessary, but yeah, let's go with this. We can make a out unit which has a cat fact. We have the user for that, and we have the name for that user, I guess. Okay, so we have that normal object for the cat. Cat fact. Let's now make a new file to be the actual cat store, if that makes sense. So this one will just be cats.dart, and this one will be responsible for just having that state of every, like all the cats, I guess. Let's go with that. Just like make sure if you see me doing like stupid mistakes, just let me know. This is just a weird way of thinking for me. I haven't really used like something similar to MobX. I tried out scoped model some and just learned the basics, but I haven't really used it in like a end-to-end app. So this would probably have its own folder. So instead of models, it would probably be inside like MobX folder. Yeah, that will probably be in another folder. So we're just going to call it MobX. We're going to have a new folder inside here. I'm just going to clear everything up because I don't think it makes much sense to have my normal data models being in the same folder as the MobX models. So we have the MobX folder here, and we're just going to create a folder called, yeah, that's why I didn't want to make it in the same folders, because I have my data model here, which is the cat fact, and these cats will just be like the MobX store and not actual a model. So the MobX folder will be cats store, maybe. We can move this file over there, and we're actually going to just do the same with counter. I'm just, I saw your question, so I'm just going to move this really fast. I'm going to create another folder here, and let's name that counter store. We're going to move these files over here. We can remove the counter folder, and I'm just going to import the right one. There we go. I'm just going to see if everything is working again. How MobX works, I just join. Is it like streams but easier? What's pros or cons? Like so far, it seems to be a lot easier than streams. It's hard for me to explain because I enjoy working with streams. I don't find them quite hard, but we can shake this counter example. So we used, for example, if we have a value that we want to have in the app or listen to, we just have this, I don't know what it's called. Yeah, the @ sign. And we have the value. So that means that we can listen to this in the app. So for example, we had in the counter page, we had just a observer, and then we could just listen to that count variable. And then for the actions, which is just the methods that we want to, yeah, decorators, exactly. And the actions are just responsible for what I believe, or what I guess it's responsible for, is just making sure that this value changes, and also all of the observables or all of the widgets are notified of the change. So I guess if anyone can correct me in the chat if you know, I guess if I would remove this, or actually I can just test this. If I remove the action, okay, I actually don't know the reason for the action. Maybe we should check that out. MobX. Action. Okay, let's see. Actions are how mutate the observables. Rather than mutating the indirect action, add a semantic meaning to the mutation. For example, instead of just doing for an increment, action carries more meaning. Actions are used to modify observable values. But what's more to it? Because if I would remove the action, wouldn't that make it so I couldn't mutate the observable value? Because if I remove this and you save that, so maybe I need to rerun this actually. We can try it. Because I can still change the value or the count. Do I actually need or is it just like good practice to have that? Okay, to make sure that they notify only when the changes are complete. Atomic completion of the action. Okay, so pretty much what I guess is that the action makes it just like a notifier, I guess. So it just makes sure that everything is completed before you notify it. Maybe someone can correct it if you have used MobX a bit more than my... How long have we been streaming? More than my 30 minutes of running around in circles. Okay, so we have the counter, so let's close that one. And what we pretty much did now was we created a MobX folder, so we could have... let's move that also into this one, and we can remove this folder. So now we have our models, which is just a cat fact, and that's just the data model. So now we have the MobX store, which is the cats store. Maybe we should have a better naming convention for this, so cats store. And if I remember correctly, we're going to create an abstract class. Okay, so it's more about how the generated code will be created when I say with the watch. Or I guess that makes sense. So if you don't have the @ sign or the decorator, when you generate the file, it won't make much sense to how it's going to be created. Okay, so we have the cat store. We're going to create a abstract class, and this class cat store is going to be private, and we're going to have the store. We're going to have a part, which is the cat's store, because this is going to be the same naming convention. Okay, maybe we should rename this. So cats store. So this will be catstore.j.dart, and we haven't generated this, so I don't remember the last one. Yeah, it was this one. Okay, so let's go here again. We're going to add that. So the counter, it won't be a counter, it will be a cats store. Cats store. Okay, doesn't really matter. We're going to have the private cat store, and we're going to have the counter be replaced with this. So if we would save this, will this generate a file? Yeah. Okay, so what are we going to create inside here? We will have a observable. Maybe we should just have a list view with all of the cat's facts, and we can have like some nice styling if you guys want to also see how we can design something also. Not make anything too basic. Okay, so we're going to have a observable, and this observable will just be a list of cat facts. We're going to give it the name cat facts, and this is just going to be a empty list to begin with. We're going to have a action, and this action will just be something like fetch cats. It would be more fun to have dogs here, so we could have a function called fetch dogs. Fetch cats, fetch cats fact. Oh, the plural makes everything weird. It's going to be a function. So what are we going to make here? So this will be responsible for getting the data or the facts, and we will then transform all of those facts into a list of cat facts. Hey Sadeb, hey Sam, how are you doing? Nice to see you here. Okay, so let's see if I can understand this. We have cat facts. We are going to fetch all the cat's facts. And when we fetch that, we will add that to the list. And as the API that we tested, this just seems to add like, or get all of them. I don't know if we can limit it some way. An animal fact. They don't have like any documentation for it. Maybe on the... Let's just for now just get all of the cat facts. So we have the endpoint for getting all of that. We are going to close that. Okay, so we're going to... what are we going to do? We're going to use HTTP. But we need the HTTP plugin then, right? Let's use... I'm just going to get the latest HTTP plugin really fast. So we're going to go to dependencies, and we're going to just add HTTP. And let's close this down. And we are going to just change this to a future void because this is going to take some time. Maybe you want to use future void. Yeah. I just changed that now. Okay, so we are going to do some small things. See if I can remember here how we are going to do this. Let me just check here. So I'm just checking the documentation for the HTTP here really fast. So first off, we're going to just create the response for what the HTTP gets. And we are going to, I don't think we have imported it, HTTP. Of course we haven't. So I'm just going to take this one. And we're going to just write it to as HTTP, so we can then write HTTP dot. And just going to check, and there we go. So we have the HTTP, and I believe there is a getter function. So the URL, and we're just going to, where are we going to define the URL? Maybe up here, static const private cat facts URL. And let's just get that one really fast. I'm going to close this. There we have it. So it just becomes a bit cleaner. There we go. Are we going to handle all of the different cases? Yeah, maybe we should do that. Can I like have this side by side so I can see the chat better? Okay, so then you I'm just going to, okay, it couldn't show that. The streaming window isn't fit for mobile, so when I try to make it half the size, it would just become really shitty. Okay, so we have the response. We're going to just check the different cases. Maybe we'll just check if it's loaded or if it has the status code of 200. And then on the all of the other cases, we'll just make a fail fetch. So if the response status code is equal to 200, so if it is successful, I'm going to add some comments in case someone is new with this. Status code 200 is the same as means that we made a successful call or get. So we have the status code, so we got the data, and here we're just going to print it to begin with. So failed getting the data. So let's see if I can remember this. Okay, so so we have the cat facts list, and we have the response. Maybe we should, what's the best way of doing this? Because this will just generate a huge mess of code, pretty much. Let's just, for now, I don't often work with HTTP, so I actually forgot this one. So this is very simple if you just get a single post, and then we can just decode it and put it as a object. But this one actually has a ton of different things. Yeah, I will use JSON decode, but I don't have a, maybe it works anyway. So let's try this. So we do JSON.decode, and we're going to import JSON or convert, and we're going to decode the response.body, final items, and this should give us a dynamic. Can we like I want this just to generate a list of string dynamic or a map, a list of maps maybe. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, so when we decode this, we will actually get a list of string dynamics maps. And what we're going to do is just pretty much just decode or make all of this to our list of facts. So when we have coded it, we have the decoded items. And then we can decoded items dot map item, and we can do cat fact from JSON, and we can just pass. I'm probably going to make like a super huge mistake here. Let's see if we can do it anyway. Going to create a to list, and we can assign this to our cat facts. Let's see if this works. And let's go in the main folder. So we have the fetch cats. Let me know if I'm did some mistake on this one. I'm not completely sure if that's right. So we have the cat store, which has a list of cat facts. We have our action, which just gets all of the cat facts, and then just assign that to the list. So let's go to, not main, we're going to create a new page, I believe. Let's create a new page called cat facts page.dart. Going to create a stateless widget, maybe, yeah. Cat facts page. And we're going to import the material. Let's just create a scaffold. And inside the body, we will simply just, let's actually, before we create the body, we're going to instantiate the object or the store. So it's this one. We're going to do final cat store, which is equal to the cat store. It's going to make it plural also. There we go. And I'm going to just make this, there we go. So we have the cat store. So let's just make a simple list view to begin with, and then we can just like change it up if we want to. So inside this body, we're going to have a list view, and we're going to have a list view dot builder, makes more sense maybe. And this takes a item count, and the item count will be the cat store dot catfacts dot count or dot length. And we will have, we'll also have the item builder, I believe. Yeah, the item builder. And item builder will be context and then the index. So here we can just return a list tile. There we go. And let's just put the title as, let's create a final cat fact, and that will be the cat store dot cat facts at the index. And I can already see that we don't have a observer, so I will actually wrap this in the observer soon. So let's say we will have the type. I don't know what the type is, but we will have the type. A text with the type, and we will have a subtitle, which used to be the cat facts.text. Maybe something like this. So what we're actually going to do is this list view builder is going to be wrapped in a observer. And this observer has a builder which has a context. Do we need a context? Don't know. We're going to then return our list view. So now let's switch this out to the cat facts page. Let's remove this one. Probably going to get some. What's an observer widget do? So the observer widget is part of the MobX library. So what this pretty much does is that it notifies the widget tree or the child widgets that they need to rebuild when the observable values changes. So for example, when we add a value here, this observer will be notified so that this will be rebuilt so we can get the new items. So for example, right now we're not getting anything. So let's just create a constructor. Or let's do like this actually. Let's create, so inside the body we will have, or outside the body we will have the floating action button. Just keeping it simple. And on the on pressed we will have the, so like in this instead of using, yeah, pretty much. So with set state you're actually notifying or notifying Flutter, so to speak, to rebuild the build function, and then to change all of the values that will be, or the values with them would be displayed on the screen. So a observer is a way for MobX to notify that, okay, that for example this list has now changed, so we now need to like display those values inside these different list tiles, if that makes sense. So we have the cat store. We have our fetch cats facts. Yeah, it becomes quite more efficient if you have the observer, which just makes it so that this list is the one that's going to be rebuilt. So instead of just rebuilding the whole tree, we're just rebuilding this specific part. Let's go to the, I'm not sure if this will work. Let's try it. Okay, so type error. Internal linked hash map string dynamic is not subtype of type list. Okay. Let's see. Don't know actually. Let's Google this actually. Probably someone else has had this problem before me. Is this simply just a map? But then we don't get. Okay, so this was what I was thinking of. Try using just list. But this won't be a list, I believe. Let's just continue that. Will this work? But what's the type of this list? I don't think this will work. No, so pretty much what I am getting from this site is just not But it is a list though, I think. Let's just make it dynamic, see if we can get through this. Dynamic is not subtype typed string dynamic. Of course we couldn't. How do we get a, is anyone aware of this? So this place actually just gets a ton of objects and they are separated with a comma, so I guess this is a list. So it should be a list with a object. Oh, wait a second. We'll have this all section first, and then we're getting a list. Okay. Maybe the API is the more complex thing. I don't think MobX is making this. I'm using list view builder and fetching items from the Sembas database. It's work, but my scrolling is not smooth as native app. It's choppy. Do you have any idea? When are you fetching the items for the database? From the database? And how many items are they? It shouldn't be any like problem with the amount of items. And also, are you running in debug mode or are you running in a release version of the app? Okay, so we are getting a map string dynamic, and this decoded will be inside here. We're getting all. List of dynamic is not a subtype of the return type. Okay, what are we actually getting from this? So we take the decoded items, we select the all, which should be this one, right? That means that we should get, because it's only one of them here, and the last one is at the end. So this means that this is a list. String dynamic, we're mapping this from JSON. Let's try it again. I just want to see what error I'm getting. Type list dynamic is not a subtype of type list cats. Maybe we can make it oh yeah, maybe that makes sense. Null. Use upvoted. Okay, let's just focus on the more important things then. So we're going to have a cat facts. This is going to just have, should I use this or learn block? Supposed to learn block these days. Like, in my experience, most of the state management solutions will get the work done. So it doesn't really matter. Block is quite hard to get into in the beginning, especially if you don't know streams. But it's quite worthwhile when you get a understanding of streams. So we don't care about the user upvotes. Let's remove that. Let's also remove this. We don't care about the ID either. And we can remove all of this. So we can make this a bit more simplified. Let's remove the user class and all of the other code right here. List of dynamics, not type of type. What am I missing? So this gives us a list. Let's do like this instead. Let's not make it a functional statement. They're just going to test if this is working. So we're going to create a for each final item in all of them, and we're just going to print the item for now. I'm just going to see if we can get this to work at least. So each item is a object. So doesn't that mean that we should be able to do item and then just get the text, for example? What am I missing? Yeah, that works. Decoded items all returns list, not map. But what did I do? Didn't I? Yeah, so it returned a list, which I want to map through, and that would give me each object or each. Okay, maybe someone can make a pull request. I'm not. It doesn't really make sense for me to get stuck on this. So let's just, for each item that we're getting, because we're getting all of them at the same time, so let's just loop through them and add them each one by one. So we're going to make a final cat fact is equal to cat fact dot from JSON, and then we're just going to pass in the item. Turns a list and he apply a map method to every item. Yeah, I think I did that. Maybe I'm just forgetting something, so let's just not get stuck on that. So I'm just going to see if this at least is working. List.from. Oh. Okay, let's try with your solution. It's probably better than mine. Okay, so what did you write? List.from, and then we map that. Does that work? Oh, that actually works. What was the reason for it? Decode all returns a list. But why is the reason that we're using list.from? Doesn't that just copy it to another list? Creates a list containing all elements. Okay, it works at least. So let's not get too stuck on that. So we have our list of items or cats. A lot of cats. So what can we do to make this more fun? Maybe we should have like some kind of way of just notifying that we are loading when we push the button. So these are some things that get like that I'm used to getting automated with using block or streams. So when I'm using a stream, I'm just specifying in the view list is. Or maybe I can do like that, yeah. So pretty much when I'm using the block way is that when I'm getting something or the stream is empty, that will just create that spinning indication automatically. And when we have that items in the list, that would then signify that the list is not empty and the spinning indication would be gone. So how would we like getting that more reactive way inside here? So I'm guessing we have to specify types for that. Is there any like good documentation for this on the MobX documentation? I'm just going to open this here so we can all read it. Okay, so we have the action state, computed values. We haven't checked computed values actually. Can we see if we can find some example of computed values also? You can define values that will be derived automatically when relevant. Computed or by using get. Okay, so you have the to-dos. Okay, so we can have computed values that would then, for example, filter out that we want the first 10 items in the list. Yeah, that seems pretty cool. Cool. Reactions are similar to computed battery. Instead of producing a new value, a reaction produces side effects for the thing. I'm pretty much Flutter packages. Maybe we're going to use the documentation for this one. So we have the computed values. That makes sense. We can try that out also. So for example, we can listen to the values, and when that's changed, that will change. Okay, I don't see anything specific with that. So let's just implement that ourselves. So when the list is actually, we can just clean the when we okay, I got a good solution. So what we can do, maybe is loading observable value. Yeah, I've thought about that, but maybe we can just we can do a is loading. That's probably better. I will just try this one first. I'm thinking of when we just push the button, that would clear the list, and when we have the list is empty, we can just set a spinner. The problem I have with like is loading variables in some cases is that it doesn't really reflect on what is loading, if that makes sense. So for example, if we had a bunch of different values that we would listen to, that is loading, maybe that is loading is just responsible for the loading of one variable. Of course, we could have naming conventions covering that, but I just feel that it should be more automatic or reactive, if that makes sense. So we have the observer. We can just check if the cat's length. So if the cat's length is equal to 1 or 0, I mean, we can return a... I always forget this. Is it loading spinner? Spinner? Progress indicator? There, progress indicator. Linear progress, circular, there we go. Okay, so we have the, and then we're just going to have a else. Oh yeah, I always forget the name of the circular progress indicator. I always try to search for loading. So we get a loading up in the top left corner. So let's just wrap that in a center widget. So we get some kind of loading. And let's see if we get some items that's not loading anymore. So one thing I'm guessing, so for example, is there anyone, by the way, here using MobX for an application? That would be, let's use, there we go. So we have this list, okay. We can have the loading indication. So let's just for now just clear the list. So we have the cat facts.clear. That should like force the list to clear and we will get a spinning indication. I guess we should. Doesn't it? Okay, let's just maybe have a variable for is loading then. Isn't this the case where we can use computed values? Computed. So if this cat facts, am I doing it completely wrong now? Where do we have the MobX for computed values? At computer, oh, it's a getter, okay. So bool get cat fact, the name for it. Is loading. Ignore what I said earlier. Let's just have is loading. So is loading comes from when the cat facts dot length is equal to 0. Can we do like this? So is loading. Does this update the value when we're actually... No, it doesn't. What is like the preferable way of handling this? Feel like... Oh, I didn't have a cat facts.clear. Didn't matter. Let's just for now set a observable. And we can have is loading. Which is a bool. And this is not a getter anymore. It's just a bool is loading is equal to false, true in the beginning. Going to set it to true when we start the loading indication. And also when we have gotten the items, we're going to set this to false. This is probably a better use case for enums, but let's just try it this way. No, let's use a enum instead, because I don't think the is loading is like covering all of our use cases. So for example, when we're fetching an item, we can get that item and that will indicate that we are having a loading indication. And when we get that item or that list of items, we display them. But also if that fails to load, we want to, like for example, display something that makes the user see that we have some kind of error. So let's actually do enums instead. Enum state loading state maybe, which is equal to is it not like this you make an enum, or is it just simply this? I forgot. Dart enum. Okay, it's just like this, and then have the values inside there. So we're going to have one for good naming conventions. So we're going to have one for completed, maybe. Completed. Is the naming for enums dot enum. Yeah. So let's have none instead. So none loading error. So now we have loading state which covers all of this. So instead of having a bool, we can have a loading state. And that is loading will be set to loading state dot loading to begin with. So we can do that here. When it's done, we're going to set it to none. And then when we have some kind of error, we're going to set it to error. So that makes probably more sense. Now we're getting tons of errors. That's because we don't have the bool anymore, I guess. Yep. So now we can instead check if the is loading, or that's a bad naming convention. So let's call it to do state. So now let's see. Now we have something cool. So now we have the state, and if it's equal to the, what naming did I give it? Loading state. So if it's equal to loading, we will display in loading. If it's else if the cat's store dot state is equal to the loading state of none, we're going to display that. And then we're just going to have a else statement which says that center with a child of text. This one is just going to be there was an error. We could store that variable also in a variable, I guess, but doesn't really matter. So now we should have all of the different cases. So if we would change this, didn't I change that? So when we get item, that would be none. Cats.state. Maybe we should rerun this. Wait a second. There are no observables detected in the builder function. Is there not? Isn't this the values? Returns a widget that reveals every time an observable referenced in builder function is. So how do we actually reference it? Can't we have like the if statements, or do we need multiple observers? That doesn't make much sense. Do anyone know why this is happening? Let me know in case. I'm trying to see if I find a solution. Great to know. Can we give names to observables? So observable state. Flutter MobX naming. Is busy generics missing? What's MobX? MobX is like a state management solution for Flutter or for many different types of observer. Do I need to wrap my cat facts with a observer? But doesn't... I'm getting really confused here. So... A observable future is a wrapper around the future and gives you a way to react to the status changes. Like Redux. Yeah, Redux is another way of managing states and stores and stuff like that. MobX is just a more... I believe it's just made to be more simpler to understand. Because Redux is quite a bit of boilerplate and hard to get into. A observable future is a wrapper around the future and gives you a way to react to status changes. But should I... So I have these two observables or these two values. Isn't this enough to notify the view that these are... that I'm looking for changes on them? Would I need to specify the type somewhere? I saw that you could specify names, but I don't know if that changes anything. It's the clock. It's getting quite late. Let's see if we can start to finish this up also. An observable future is a wrap around the future and gives you away. Let's just... Should I make a collection? Observer. I don't really... I think the observable future is a good approach. How do I use... Where's the documentation for the observable future? Observable future. I'm just trying to understand because why is the reason we're not getting the state changes of the different variables in the cat store? Shouldn't the observer notify when we have any changes happening in this cat store, or do we have to specify a type for it? No. Like, by the way, with the observable future, when the stream is over, make sure if you know a better way of handling instead of setting the different states, make sure to like create a pull request on the repository. And maybe we can get a better solution for this. But let's see now. We are getting and changing the state. But we're not getting the states here, I guess. There are no observables detected in the builder function for observer. Didn't I copy this? There we go. If you see the message with the name Castor as an observable, don't you have to specify Castor as an observable? Well, like I have the annotation for the observable for the variables. Shouldn't that be enough? It worked for the other cases, so it worked when I didn't have the if statements. There are no observables detected in the builder function for observer at 1. Observable list. Does this make any changes? No observables detected in the builder function for observer 2. And that would be this one then. So observable, and then we pass in the type. Yeah, I think everything should be... Oh, build's finished. That makes sense. Let's see if we can... Oh. Did it actually... What was the reason though? Package graph update? Okay, so the reason is that we didn't, maybe, let's see, let's hope that at least. Let's just do like this, see if it builds something, yeah. Let's go to the debug console, push the button. Oh, there we go. Oh, so it wasn't generating. Well, now I feel really, really stupid. Good catch, by the way. Okay, so it wasn't just generating the code for that observable or that changes. When was it broke actually? Terminating builds due to package graph update. Okay. Okay, but we seem to get some kind of indication that we were looking for. So let's see if we can also do this. So let's just change this to response code 300 so we can get to the else statement. Let's see if we can get that. That should be the error, right? We could also have a state for the variable. Yeah, so let's create a constructor now. Cat store. So let's move all of this, and we'll just make a private function. So, or should we do this? Oh, we can just call this one. So in the constructor, we're just going to call the fetch cats facts. It's pretty late now, but I want to do one more thing actually. And that is just putting that maybe we should have another stream. What do you guys think about having another stream tomorrow? Just to continue with this a little bit more, because we haven't really touched with the MobX package as much as I actually wanted. Would love to hear some opinions on it. Or do you think we are... Or is everybody just lurking now? Because I have some more ideas, but it's getting quite late here. We're just doing some very, very simple things right now. We're just getting some kind of data, displaying that in a list view. Maybe we should just end it here, and maybe I can continue tomorrow. What I'm actually going to do first is just setting or adding this cat store in the provider. So if anyone of you guys haven't checked out provider yet, I'm just going to make a simple example of it. So we have this material app. What I want to do is actually have this cat store globally. So we're just going to wrap this in a new widget called provider. Provider. And the provider takes a builder. And this builder will just be the cat store. And the cat store is not instantiated, so let's do that. We're missing the type. Wait, what am I missing now? Let's just check Flutter provider really fast. So we have the provider with the object that we want. So let's set the type, which is cat store. Then we have the builder function. Or let's see here. Cat store function can't be assigned to the parameter. Oh, we're not passing the context. There we go. How do you get the inline error message? Do you mean the big red code? That is from, see if I can find it. Error lens, I believe. Yeah, error lens. This just gives a huge red line or yellow line for all the errors. I don't find these squiggly lines to be too noticeable, so I really want to make them stand out. So now I have the state of a cat store in with provider. So now we can simply do final cat store is equal to provider.off. Just get that, set this type of context. Oh, There we go. So now I have some errors. Let's just reload this. So that should be pretty much the same, but now we have it completed and we can get it from different places of the app. But let's just wrap it up here. I will check if, and by the way, let me know by liking the video also. It really helps the video. The live stream doesn't get as much attention as the normal videos. So liking the video really helps. But I will just end pretty much the stream here. I will upload everything to GitHub. Maybe we'll make another live stream this weekend. And we can make some more, taking a bit more look at this. Can I make a pull request for the next stream? Like, you can make pull requests whenever you want. The repository is open, so you can, if you find anything here or for anything else that we are creating on the live stream, just make pull requests or issues or whatever you find that will help you or help all the other people that are watching this. But let's end the stream here and we can check on the weekend if we're going to continue. Thanks everyone for watching, and also don't forget to like the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.